Welcome back. The organization Rising Ground is holding an essentials drive to support homeless young people by providing them with personal care items, cleaning supplies, clothing, and much more. These items are not only essential for maintaining good health, but also help boost confidence and bring a sense of normalcy to the lives of the thousands of young people supported by Rising Ground's Runaway Homeless Youth Programs. Please join me now in welcoming the Assistant VP for the Runaway and Homeless Youth Programs at Rising Ground, Jeffrey Moore. Thank you so much, Jeffrey, for being here with us.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Yeah, now, of course, we are talking about an important cause, but to start off, give me a little bit of an overview on Rising Grounds, what the organization is about and its focus.
Okay, so Rising Ground, we are a human service organization. We've been around for about 194 years. We started off as an orphanage, and over the years, we've kind of expanded to serve a lot of different programs. Rising Ground started doing the Runaway and Homeless Youth Programs back in 2018. We started with about 2 programs for about 40 youth, and today we have about 12 programs. 10 of them are residential programs where we have about 180 beds for young people where they can live and stay for 2 years or until their 21st birthday. And then we have 2 drop-in centers in Queens that we serve thousands of youth where it's not residential programs, but the youth can come, get off the street, get food, shelter, clothing for temporary situations, and then it allows them to kind of get transferred into a different residential program where they can actually stay and have somewhere permanent that they can work and go to school and not have to worry about where they're going to sleep at night.
Right, and with this important work, I mean, for people who may not understand even the need for it, what is the experience like of a young person who may be experiencing homelessness in New York City? You know, can you paint that picture a little bit for us?
For sure. So, I mean, I think youth homelessness is really something that we're just starting to see the severity of. There's a lot of youth right now who are homeless, but they might be staying on an aunt's couch, right? And so in their minds, they may not consider themselves homeless, but at any moment, the aunt could tell them, you gotta go. And so in those situations, where do they go? And so that's what our programs are really for. There's a lot of youth who are sleeping in abandoned buildings, you know, sleeping on trains. There's a lot of youth who are going to school every day and the teachers see them in clothes that they wore yesterday. And in those situations, those youth more than likely are struggling with housing stability. So a lot of the time, there's a lot of youth that are homeless that we don't really know. And then there's also a lot of youth that are in programs throughout the city like mine that the young people are able to stay in a group home setting, but they are on their own. They tend to not get support from their parents, from their guardians. They're working, going to school. They're trying to, you know, really make it on their own. And they could be as young as 16 years old. And then we have a couple of programs for young people who are up to 24. So there's a range of young people kind of going through this experience in our city and really all over the country.
And when you talk about obviously seeing this rise in homelessness, especially within the youth specifically, you are launching now this special initiative called the Essential Drive. Obviously, we're seeing, and you're telling us about the urgency, but why is it important more than ever now to have something like this to support them?
Definitely. So the main thing that we see when young people come into our programs is they might have one bag, right? They might have the clothing on their back. They might have, you know, a couple of things in their book bag, but that's it. And so a lot of time, and they don't have any money. They don't have a job. A lot of the young people come to us with very little. And so what we find ourselves having to do as a program is provide them with those things, right? A lot of times a young person can come to us and not have any underwear. And so we have to go and buy them underwear, which puts a strain on the program. And so one of the things that we try to do with the Essentials Drive is, you know, help raise awareness for the needs of the young people and try to have people in the community support the program and the young people through these type of donations. And this is something that we're launching here at Rising Ground. It's going to be going through the middle of June. And so we're hoping to really get a lot of, you know, necessities, things for the young people, so that way we can kind of support them as they transition into our programs. And then for those of the youth who are going to be moving out of our programs, we want to also be able to give them some stuff so that way when they get to their own apartments, they don't have to start from zero.
Yeah, when you talk about that focus as well of how the community can even step in to help, what are the essential items needed right now as part of this essential drive?
Okay, so definitely clothing, undergarments, underwear. A lot of young people come to us and they might have no clothes for job interviews. So nice shirts, nice slacks, shoes. A lot of times we also try to get stuff for young people who are moving into their apartments. So like care packages such as like first aid kits, cookware sets. Cookware sets are very important because a lot of young people, once they move into their first apartment, they have to eat cup noodles and they have to kind of really find ways for them to make their own meals. So if we can get cookware sets, those are very helpful. Cleaning supplies. A lot of young people, when they first move into their apartment or when they're in their own rooms, right, they want to have access to cleaning supplies so that way they can keep the space clean because, if you're in a cleaner space, you feel better, right? A lot of young people also need book bags. A lot of young people need socks. Socks is a big thing as well. So, just anything that you see yourself needing on a daily basis, those are really the things that we find our young people need and benefit from. And as they get those things, they're able to focus on other aspects of their lives, which makes, just dealing with the homelessness a lot easier for them.
Yeah, something that I found helpful as well is that you do have an Amazon list
Yes,
for
yes,
people, obviously,
absolutely.
to know what to contribute to. But people can also create their own type of drives. Talk to me about how people can go about setting this up and obviously helping in their own way.
For sure. So the best way to support us and get involved is if you go to our website, risingground.org. As soon as you go to the website, there's a pop-up on the screen and it takes you to the information on how to go through and order things through the Amazon list, but also there's information on how to set up your own drive. In the past, we've had a lot of support from different community providers. This past Christmas, actually, we had an organization go and do, I guess you want to call it like a pool. And so they basically adopted one of our programs. And so different people who worked for the organization bought Christmas gifts and then they wrapped them and then I went and picked them up and we took them to the youth and dropped them off. We also have organizations who we had a coat drive a couple of months ago.
Wow.
And so they went and purchased brand new coats and then they brought them to us. And then we did like a pop-up shop at one of my drop-in centers where the young people were able to come and pick out their own coats. So they were able to pick out shoes, clothes, and stuff like that. So, really just thinking about, if you want to get involved, we have a lot of different ways for people to do it. And if you go to the website, you'll see the contact information and all that. And, you just get in contact with somebody from on our side and we'll make it happen.
Yeah. Now, thank you so much, Jeffrey, for sharing that. I think it's helpful, obviously, for people to know the creative ways that they can also join and get and be supportive of this program. But with that as well, we talk about the people who are receiving it. For these young people, obviously, the lack of necessities already there. How does that affect their emotional and well-being, you'd say?
Yeah, for sure. So, we have young people who are trying to go to school and trying to get jobs. And so if you're going to school or if you're going on a job interview and you don't have fresh clothes, you're wearing something that you wore yesterday that you had to wash just to make sure that you had it clean, that's a stressor. And so a lot of times what we find is the young people who are able to get to work or to get to school and have something fresh, something new, or at least something that's lightly used, that makes them feel better. And they're very appreciative, right? When they get it, they get excited and you see their energy just kind of perk up. And so trying to find ways to help get them the access to those resources, that's really what we're looking to do with this Essentials Drive.
Yeah, something you mentioned earlier too was talking about how even if it's work clothes or something they can use when they go to a job interview at
Absolutely.
Talk to me about how even having those kind of items helps them build their confidence up as well, because that also was a very important part that I was interested in reading about more.
Yeah, for sure. So I had a young lady the other day, she's been looking for a job for a while. And she came to us, she came to one of my case managers looking to see if we can give her some support in getting a whole outfit so that way she can go on the job interview. And so we took her to the store, it was in the Bronx, we took her to the store over there on Fordham, got her a couple of things so that way she was prepared. And she felt confident, she walked in with the resume and she ended up getting the job. And, those are stories that we have happen all the time. And, there's only so much that we can do as a program. And so the more stuff that we can get and have available to them, the easier it is for us to make those experiences happen for our young people, which is also going to in turn allow them to be more likely to get the job, right? And more likely for them to go out into the community, be more confident. As they're moving around, they're not worried as much about how people are perceiving them because their clothes aren't tattered or they don't have a smell. And so those are different things that we know or that we see with our young people. When those things are available to them, they do better. They are more likely to be successful.
Yeah. Now, Jeffrey, as well with that, I want to focus also on another program that you have, which is the Rising Grounds Transitional Independent Living Program as well. Talk to me about how that works and how you are able to help in a non-traditional way to these young people as well.
For sure. So the Transitional Independent Living Program, or TIL as we affectionately call it, is a program where a young person can stay for 2 years or until their 21st or 25th birthday. It depends on what program you're in. We have both here at Rising Ground. Both of them are actually in the Bronx. The largest number of my programs are actually in the Bronx. And so a young person, they come to our program, they're referred to us from either a drop-in center or we get young people who are referred to us from schools. And this is a group home setting. And so in these programs, if you were to walk down the street, you would see a house or it might be like a apartment building, that's our group home. And you wouldn't know, it doesn't look like a shelter or that homeless young people live there, and they come and go as they please. We have case management on site, and most of them have either a roommate or 2 roommates, but some of our programs, the young people have their own room, right? And it might be the first time that a kid even had their own room in their life, right? So they decorate their room. We have showers and stuff so they can, shower as many times as they want. There's no limit on that. We have open kitchens, so all of our young people, they're responsible for cooking for themselves. But for those of the youth who don't know how to cook, we teach them and we do workshops to help them learn how to cook. They have laundry, so they're responsible for doing their own laundry. If they can't do laundry, we teach them. So you really get to have the whole youth experience in an environment that you can feel safe, where you can feel like you're supported, where there's people, where there's staff on duty who can support you in those situations.
Yeah, and it sounds obviously like an important way to empower them as well.
Absolutely.
So with that, Jeffrey, thank you so much for just sharing more about Rising Ground.
No problem. Thank you so much for having me.
And of course, to learn more about this drive and the different ways you can help support their efforts, please visit the website risingground.org. Stay tuned, we have more open for you right after this.